So I think it's pretty clear at this point where I stand with resellers. It's pretty evident by my content that I can't stand them. Yeah, it's true. I hate resellers. But you know what? There's another part of this game that plays into this, and there's a lot more factors than just the YouTube resellers or the sneaker shops. We have third-party apps like Stockx and GOAT. So I'm going to go into that today, and I'm going to kind of get into that, and we're going to talk about why Nike doesn't do anything about it. So let's go ahead, let's do this. Let's run the dopest intro you ever seen in your life, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get right back in that ass. Pause.
OG Trap Jordan, OG Trap Jordan, the other sneaker YouTubers, the hell are boring. OG Trap Jordan, OG Trap Jordan, I got sneakers rated and pouring.
What's good, y'all, man? It's your boy, Piper Tricks. And guess what? This is crazy. This is crazy. I just spent $50,000 on a bunch of male escorts this weekend. It was crazy. It was crazy. What up, YouTube? OG Trap Jordan, back with another one. And today, we got to talk about something a little different that still correlates with what I've been talking about, which is the resellers. So today, we're going to talk about the third-party apps like Stockx and GOAT and things like that. So I want to get into it, and I want to talk about, we know what's been going on. We've seen the videos. We've seen everything that went viral with cool kicks, and you guys have probably seen some of my videos where I've been going in on the resellers, but I want to talk about Stockx and GOAT, and I want to talk about what some of my subscribers have brought up, and I've talked about a little bit before, and I want to really get into it about this with, you know, that Nike had recently sued Stockx, and they basically sued Stockx for fakes. Now, my question is, if they're suing for fakes, why are they not going after them for stolen product? If it seems like they want to crack down on stolen products, according to what just happened with Cool Kicks, and we see a lot of these other guys laying low, why are they? Here's the thing that I want to talk about. Every time a shoe drops, when it comes to, especially mostly Jordans and Nikes, when it's like collabs and stuff like that, but just overall, any Jordan that comes out, it's always out on Stockx and GOAT about 2 months early, and it also happens to coincidentally be about the same time when all these YouTube resellers happen to get their pairs. We know what happens. It'll be the same exact day. All the usual suspects will come out and they'll have them early, and they'll have the pairs and they'll do the reviews and they'll start slanging them, and they just happen to be like the same exact day they are on Stockx and GOAT and everywhere else. And I just want to know, why is that? Because if you remember what Uncle Chrissy just said, and I talked about that on another video, and I previously talked about it, like he said, no matter if you're sticking up a train or if you're breaking into a train, or you're sticking up a truck driver, or you're backdooring pairs, it's still a theft. So the question is, where do all these shoes come from? Because they're getting them 2 months later, and they're not, and it's not just, or 2 months early, excuse me, and it's not just the collabs or the really limited shoes. It's every single Jordan that comes out. They hit the streets. There's thousands of pairs everywhere, and you see them on Instagram, you see them on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. You see them on the third-party apps. How are they getting pushed out? And if they are getting pushed out illegally, why has Nike not come down on that? They're coming down on StockX for fakes, but if these shoes are coming out and they're hitting the streets in such ridiculous numbers, why is it that Nike hasn't, like, if they can track down, from what I understand, when they did the lawsuit with StockX, they basically ordered a bunch of pairs and they found out that a bunch of them were fakes. So if that's the case, why aren't they tracking the shoes? Not tracking to find out where they're at, but tracking to find out like where they came from, or if they're even fake, or they already know they're fake. And why haven't they done anything about that? So let's put on our tinfoil hats and let's think about it for a minute. Because there's no way that many pairs of shoes are coming off of these train heists. It's not. I mean, I know there's a lot of train heists, and I know we've had the Memphis situations, but is every single pair of Jordans that comes out getting stolen 2 months before they release? And if so, why would Nike not do anything about it? Why would they not do anything to stop it? Now, this is where we put our tinfoil hats on. Are they the ones pushing it to StockX? A lot of people seem to think so. A lot of people think that Nike and these third-party apps are directly working together to put these shoes out. Now, I don't know if that's true, but like I said, where are the shoes coming from? Because I know there's a lot of heists, but it's not a heist. It's not at the amount to where it's every single shoe that comes out. So these shoes got to be getting leaked somewhere. And if they are just getting backdoored, how is it that this multi-billion-dollar company can't figure that out and put a stop to it unless that's exactly what they want to happen, unless this is what they're doing, unless they're pushing this out there? And I know a lot of people, when I say that Nike likes resellers, people get in my comments and they argue and they say that's not true because that stops their money. But the more a limited shoe is and the more expensive it is on the aftermarket, the more popular the brand is and the more longer the staying power with the company will be, because it will make them so popular. When something's sought after and something's super coveted, people want it and they can't get it, they go after it and everybody wants it, and it keeps the company's hype alive and it keeps it popping. And that's why they like it. And that's with every like major name brand. That's when it comes to watches or name brand bags or whatever it may be, they always want you to think that their products are super hard to get. That way you desire it. Just like the female that you can't have, you want her more. And that's just the way human nature is. But back on topic, like I said, where are these shoes coming from? Is Nike selling these to the third-party apps? I don't know. I can only theorize. A lot of people seem to think so, but I just think it's really funny that everybody's getting them. We have like these sneaker YouTubers. I'm looking at it at this point like these guys are like the Illuminati of the sneaker game. Like, they're a big ass club and they all get them at the same exact day, and it just happens to be when they're hitting the third-party apps. So what's going on behind the scenes? What is really going on? And you know, just to support my theory, I want to bring it back a little bit and I want to kind of talk about this Cool Kick situation. We seen what just happened to him and he just got basically knocked off. Who knows what his future holds? Who knows if he can withstand this or if that shop will be able to continue to make money. But a lot of not YouTube, but a lot of sneaker retail shops have gone under, especially a lot of the major ones, right? So just stick with me for a minute. And in my town, our biggest sneaker retail shop just closed, and it had been around for years. Even before COVID and all the crazy stuff, they have been surviving and thriving, and all over basically the country, a lot of the resale shops are going down. And it makes you wonder if it's not by design, if it's not what Nike wants. In my opinion, these guys are getting knocked off. Maybe it's business decisions, and maybe it's just because shoes aren't selling the way they used to. But it brings me back to Stockx and GOAT. They're still thriving on the aftermarket. And the funny thing about when everything was cracking with these resale shops that were going up left and right after COVID and all the prices were crazy is they got really, really greedy. And you know what? It's funny because if you look at how they priced their shoes, and it was basically across the board, most of these sneaker shops, they would basically take like StockX prices and use that as like basically a template of how they would price, but then they would add like $100 on top. And the thing that they would always use to justify why they added like $100 on top is because StockX had fees and taxes, and they called it a convenience, because with StockX you gotta wait 2 or 3 weeks. Same with GOAT. But with a sneaker shop, they would always say to justify their price, well, you could walk in right now and you can get it. And they got really greedy, and that was the downfall of a lot of these sneaker shops, was their greed, obviously. But the crazy thing about it, the ironic thing about it, is if they wouldn't have been greedy, this is the crazy part. If they wouldn't have been greedy and they would have just basically gave us to us and let us walk out the door with those StockX prices, they probably could have put Stockx and GOAT out of business, because why would you wait 2 or 3 weeks for a pair that could be fake if you could go right into the store and you could just walk out with it on that same day and you could see for yourself? I don't know, you could probably authenticate it if you're good at that, or you could trust your local resellers a little bit more that they would authenticate it a little bit better, but they got greedy and they didn't do that. But I'm telling you, if they would have made their prices a little fair, they probably could have put Stockx and GOAT out of business. Because why would you wait that long? Like I just said, why would you wait for your shoes when you can go grab them? But they didn't. They got greedy. A lot of them made a lot of money and just closed their shops, and a lot of them went under because nobody was shopping with them anymore. And these bigger ones that have been around for a while, and it's not just cool kicks, they're all closing and they're all having problems because they got really greedy. But now we have the third-party apps still standing, still thriving, and Nike's not doing nothing about it. So that's basically what I wanted to say today. And before I get out of here, I just want to say my last video did really, really well. It's doing a lot of big numbers. I even got a shout out from Rafi Collects today, and I got a whole lot of subscribers. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you. And to all my old subscribers that have been rocking with the channel for a long time, shout out to you guys, because you guys have been here supporting me from day one, and I really appreciate you. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close it up today, and I'm just going to say, go ahead, if you haven't already and you like what you're hearing, subscribe to the channel so you can get some more of this good stuff in your life. And remember, no sneaker is an absolute must cop. Support the culture and not the resellers. I'm OG Trap Jordan, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.